What does it mean when we talk about learning Torah lishma, for its own sake? Rabbi Nachman of Breslov teaches that one should learn Torah just by reading the words. Just read straight through. Maybe understand it, maybe you don't. You just read straight through it. Of course, Balatanya says that we have to have Yediyas Torah, and so it would seem that the Balatanya was not a fan of that approach. But is that really the case? Chusam Yegain Aleinu Al Kol Yisrael, both of those great tzaddikim who knew each other and were friends. If we're going to approach this question, I think I want to talk about something else. We know the story that took place a few weeks ago, actually took place a few months ago, but came out a few weeks ago. It was a tremendous busha to myself, embarrassment to myself, on many, many levels. And the most difficult part was the part of this story where this Yigerman, the Verdorbener Yigerman, said that he came to his Verdorbenkeit through limited Torah, that through Torah study, that he finished the Shas and he changed his mind about his beliefs, which is very, very frightening and upsetting. And of course we can say that the Yetzer Hara comes and attacks a person. We know, of course, as we mentioned many times, even in the time of Chazal, that there was Verdorbenkeit, there was Acher, and even Yochanan Kohen Gadol lived his whole life in Kedusha, and then B'Seif Yamav. We know what happened. So these things happen, and it's not so strange. I know people picking on him because he's a Ger Tzedek, which is wrong, and I think it's based in racism. Really, there should be no nafkamina, there should be no difference whether we're talking about a Ger or a born Jew. And just like a born Jew, we, for the most part, would try to be Mekarev and daven that he should do tshuva. The same thing, this Ger is chayav b'chol mitzvahs. That's what the best in Paskin. Obviously, he lived a life with Torah mitzvahs for 5 years, and lighter is for Dorben geborn. But how could it happen? Ayid can a durchgein a ganz Shas and Werner and Apikoris. It's very, very frightening. And it's one thing, there's stories, certain tzaddikim, that they had children like that, but it was because of Taiva, because of Srora, because of Parnasa, whatever it was. But like this, that you should say that it was because of Chochmah. It's extremely, extremely frightening. And there's a saying, I don't remember, in my Rebbe, Kalav Rebbe Shlita likes to quote, I don't remember if it's from the Shinover Rav or from the Rav Shitzer, I don't remember. One of the tzaddikim, he said in Yiddish, I'm trying to remember the exact wording, but it's Frim is a Galach, Klig is an Apikoris, Git is a Holteiler, aber Frim, Klig, and Git is an Erlechayid at Tzaddik. He says, to be very pious, that's a priest from a different religion could be very pious. To be smart, a heretic could be very smart. To be good and kind, a person who engages in all kinds of debauchery could be good and kind. But if someone has all three of those positive traits, to be pious, to be intelligent, and to be good and kind, then he could be a good Jew, a tzaddik, a saint. And I don't know about the third part, but the first two, Frim is a Galach, and Klig is an Apikoris, we saw by the Singerman, which is, of course, very unfortunate. As Gevena Frimmer, as Gevena Kliger, as Dacha Kliger. And he was very pious, and of course not anymore in our way. And I don't think even I don't know where he is, because if you would ask any mainstream Christian, the things that he's doing would not be allowed in Christianity. He really joined a very weird cult. And then Klig is an Apikoris. This is I think, forgive the term, the crux of the issue here. Because like we said, Rabbi Nachman Schusgeleno said, Nachman Breslev Schusgeleno, Nachman Ben Fega Schusgeleno said that we should learn really as a devotion. And so you're just saying the words, just reading through the Mishnayos, reading through the Gemara. And of course we're going to pick something up, most of us, especially nowadays. You have English, you have whatever. But just read the words. And a fascinating thing that he said is, people like to brag about where they go on vacation and things. He said, can you imagine you brag about you finish Shas, you finish the Medrash, you finish the Shulchan Aruch, you finish Mishnayos. It's a great Zach. But there's something else here. So then, what about the Heilige Balatanias Chassid Galeno? He said you have to have Yediyas Torah. You can't just say the words. Well, of course you have to have Yediyas Torah. But what does it mean, Yoda? What does it mean to know? Adam knew his wife. If our pursuit of Torah is merely intellectual, and not only that, but you think like you're going to discover America, I claim this land in the name of Spain. You're going to find something new that no one else found. You're fooling yourself, and it's just arrogance and a tremendous folly. And that can lead to really apicorsis. But if instead of Torah being an intellectual pursuit, it's a relationship, that you want to know the Torah like Adam knew Eve, then it's an intimate relationship with the Torah. That's the whole inyan, right? Right now is Shavah Tat. That we want to know the Torah. We want to develop a relationship with the Torah. And if we do that, we're going to have a long-lasting relationship. This is something that I mentioned before. And this is an important yesod in everything, an important foundation, a fundamental concept. That I remember hearing a shiur from Rabbi Weinberger Shlita, really speaking out against apologetics. And I think it's also more like Rabbeinu Nachman said, that to speak out against the chokrim and the philosophers, that if you're trying to make chakiras, you're trying to find something, like we just said, you think you're going to discover America. It's that Torah is very, very damaged. And a person could lead to something really, really problematic with that. If it's purely an intellectual pursuit, but but if you get excited from limited Torah and you develop a relationship with God through His Word, and you come to Yedias Torah, to an intimate relationship with the Torah, it's going to be the strongest kesher. The way Rabbi Weinberger explained it, he said, if you say, someone asks you, why do you love your wife? Or a woman, why do you love your husband? And you look at it like, well, I have all this list of things, and she checks off all these boxes, or he checks off all these boxes. Well, you can find someone else who checks off more boxes. But if the relationship is, I don't know why, I can talk about how much I love her. I can't talk about why. I can't explain why, but I can talk about how. I could write a whole Sefer Tehillim. I could write a Shir Shirim. The whole Psalms is a Song of Solomon. So then that connection is not going anywhere. So too here, if there's no boxes checked off, that could be an abusive relationship. So yes, there is a time and a place for apologetics. And so then you listen to Rav Avigdor Miller, you learn the Kuzari. But you have to understand, who was Rav Avigdor Miller? Who was the Kuzari? Who was Rav Yehuda Halevi? These were people whose Rav Yehuda Halevi wrote poetry also. A lot of poetry. Rav Avigdor Miller was a big Oved Hashem. When you saw him daven, I remember seeing Rav Avigdor Miller's Chosigam. I remember seeing him daven. I was only there a few times. But you were in awe. I remember there were a few Satmar in Galai. And when Rav Miller's Chusi Galena walked into the Besmedrash, he said, the Rebbe is due. That's it. That's how it's supposed to be. You have both. When he sang Anoha after the Kudsha B'richu, he said that's the national anthem of the Jewish people. I am a servant of the divine and blessed. And so that's how we have to learn Torah. There's a very choshev younger man, Rabbi Pesach Sommer, he's a Maggid Shir in New Jersey. Very, very big Eved Hashem. He's gearbeitet Mensch. And he, yesterday or a few days ago, he wrote something, I reposted it on Facebook. He said he was sitting and he was learning a Chassidish Sefer, and he was very inspired by it. And in the same Besmedrash, he heard another Yid, a Balabas, with Gagoyim, real, authentic, honest excitement, feelings, expressing how excited he was from the Torah he was learning. And he was wondering, what is he learning? He walks over and he sees he has an art scroll of Chumash and Rashi. And that's exciting him so much. And that's the truth. We should get excited by a Rashi. get excited by Elukutei Maran and the Kedushas Levi and the Noam Melech and more recently, whatever we want to learn, the Sefer Shalom, whatever, the Divrei. But the truth is, we have to get excited for a Rashi too. We have to get excited for a Pasuk. We got to get excited for a Mishnah. And that's the avoid of Shovavim. That energy that we have to connect shouldn't be wasted on anything less than connecting to Hashem. Alright, we fall sometimes, we could do tshuva me'ahavas, doinas nasas lo'i kazachias. I learned that yesterday, Reish Lakish. We know who Reish Lakish was. He was the Baal Tshuva. Malkum Shabali Tshuva, I'm the main Tzadikim, Gemurim Yecholim Lamon. Chel Chalareisa. All of us, we have that Chayal Bala Vakiena, Bitnu Yoshenu El. That's the Chel Chalareisa. Baruch Shasali Neis B'Malkum Hazeh. Those who understand what I said, understand what I said. It's a pasuk in Eov. We can get excited too. But there's a kesher between Chayal Bala V'Kienu and Chel Chalareisa. And that's what we have to work on. That's what these 8 weeks, and really, I'll tell you an amazing thing. Some of the Sfarim say that if Rosh Chodesh Shvat and Chamish Asar B'Shvat fall on a Thursday, that the Inyan of Shovavim Tat extends another 2 weeks to Kisisa, Vayakal Pekudei, because you couldn't fast on Rosh Chodesh, you couldn't fast on Chamish Asar B'Shvat. So we have 10 weeks this year of Shovavim Tat Kipo. It's a big thing. And that's a tremendous, tremendous amount of excitement that we can invest into taking that energy and making it Chel Chalareisa. That the Torah's Ayala Zahuvim, like the Rambam says. The Rambam said that that's how the Rambam was. There's that balance between the intellectual and the emotional, between the logos and the mythos, as Jung would say. But if you only have one and not the other, you can lose everything. And if you confuse one for the other, you can lose everything. And we have to be afraid of that. We could not be sure of our relationships and rest on our laurels. And the same thing with our devotions to God. We could not rest on our laurels. We just have to keep going. That's chus. We could do big things. We could be moiled and keep a kesher. So let's learn a Mishnah. Yitzias HaShabbos Shtayim Shein Arba B'Pnim Shtayim Arba Achutz Ketzad Hani Oimed B'Achutz V'Al HaBayis B'Pnim Pasharani es yadai lifnim v'nasan l'seich yadai shel bal habayis asher natal mitecha v'hoitzi ani chayav v'bal habayis patur Pashat bal habayis es yadai lachutz nasan l'seich yadai shel ani asher natal mitecha v'echnis bal habayis chayav v'ani patur Pashat ani es yadai lifnim natal bal habayis mitecha asher nasan Seicha v'hoitzi shneim peturin Pashat bal habayis es yadai lachutz v'natal ani mitecha asher nasan l'seicha v'echnis shneim peturin. I remember a Maisa, I remember something that took place when I was a Rav in Richmond. There was a balabas who had a lot of strange ideas, and I was very friendly with him, and in the end he was the one who got me out of there. It's been a Shemayim, whatever it is, who knows what the Indian was there. I hope I was misaken whatever I had to do there. And he was very upset about this Mishnah. He was very uncomfortable with it. He said, just invite the ani inside your house. And he said some things that were really very problematic that I won't repeat. And that comes from that type of learning. This was a Hartzik mensch, but we have to learn in a way that we're makabel. It's another big aspect. We have to know who we are in this relationship. That it's how to makabel when we're learning Torah. And the Rebbeinu Shalom is the mashpia. And if we mess that up, also can cause a lot of problems. So, but let's say over the Mishnah before we finish. With the going out with Shabbos, there are two which are for inside and two which are for outside. What's an example? If there's a poor person standing outside and the homeowner's inside, if the poor person places his hand inside the house, and the householder places something in the poor person's hand, and he places something into the hand of the owner, or the homeowner, or he takes something out and he takes it out, the poor person is the one who's standing outside, who is liable for violating the Sabbath. And the homeowner is the one who's exempt because he was standing inside. So he just received something. If the homeowner places his hand outside and gives something into the hand of the poor person's outside, or takes something out of the poor person's hand and bring it in, then the homeowner is liable. And the poor person is exempt, not from carrying, if he carried something, but from changing from one domain to another. If the poor person places his hand inside, and the homeowner takes something from it, or puts something in it, and he takes it out, they're both exempt. If the homeowner places his hand outside, and the poor person takes something from it, or he puts something in it and takes it in Shnei Peturin, they're also both exempt. We should all be exempt from any type of punishment. like Rabbi Nachman taught, that looks like an echte rote key. Wow, it must have. I see it has hairs that are not red, but Rabbi Nachman says we have to make our Torah into tefillah. We should keep our strong kesher forever, even if sometimes we mess up. We can do tshuva. We should take whatever energy we gain, I think it was the Sansarov, when he was a small child, he happened to be by the Choyze, could be wrong, and the Choyze told everyone to leave. He was taking kvitlach, and he said, Yingala, Herziach, Geit auslernen, wie soll zu leinen kvitlach. And he started to say over in Mishnayos, Ezu Mekoimen. And that's where the energy comes from, like the story with the Mechaber, right? That he started saying over Mishnayos, and then the neshama of the Mishnayos came into him. So that's how we have to be, but Tzad Makabel. That's why it's Makabel Piskin. That's why Menemt Kvitlach. And that creates a bracha. It's moiled. People understand. But in a simple way, we just have to learn Torah, and the Baruch will take care of the brachas and everything else. I wanted to make a short, and it's already almost a half hour, so thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. And we should all be zoiche to have a relationship with God through His Word, through the Torah Kadesha, and not get lost. Alright, we love you, be well, and I wish a lot of hatzlacha to everybody. Alright, how do I turn this thing off? This one?